right now, hopefully we are all systems are go. So, hello everybody. So, you demand content immediately, Smugly? Well, here we are. So, wow. We are going to go over the very, very end of my campaign. So yeah, what's the setting? I mean, it's a homebrew setting, of course, and I think before we jump in, we are going to go ahead and give a little bit of background, because what's the point of having a D&D YouTube channel if you can't brag about your home game? So last night we played the penultimate session of my campaign. It has been going on for about a year and a half now, and we are finally at the very, very end. We started at level 3 and we are at level 15, going XP all the way. All right. So what is going on? What is the main premise of my campaign? So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up an image here. All right, and that is what the players walked into last night. So overarching idea of the campaign is this guy named Sir Galder. He used to be a hero of the realm. He killed a dragon and freed the entire kingdom 20 years ago. And since then, he's just been sort of hanging about. And, you know, people really sort of like him. He's sort of a folk hero. At the start of the campaign, the heroes were just, you know, like low-level rat-catcher lackeys. And what they had to do was investigate a cult that was supposed to be able to bring the dead back to life. Now, people thought that was just sort of a crazy idea, no big deal. Like, you know, just kooky folks. That's insane. In my setting, reawakening the dead is incredibly rare. But when they got to this cult and actually tried to kill them out and found out that it was working, they were able to tear the veil between the living and the dead. And they created these portals, which you can see right here, that sort of black circly thing. It opens up this void where the planes are thin. And all the dead do come back to life. If you bring a skeleton or a body to it, it'll be resurrected. And it just goes on and on and on. The downside is that demons pour out of that hole. It's a portal to sort of the lower planes too. And so a bunch of demons and fiends will come out and just sort of wreck everything. In addition to that, the portals just keep growing and growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So they're dangerous. Now, at that point, the campaign sort of shifted. That was the end of Act 1. Glad was with the heroes when that happened, and he was convinced that this could be a great thing. If they could learn how to control these demon-spewing portals, it could be the greatest thing ever. He could become the greatest hero ever, even more than he already was. So he fought the PCs to try to keep these things open, and they split apart. And then time and time again, Glad's been doing all sorts of things to try to master keeping these portals open, trying to bring back the dead. He destroyed the great abbey of his church. It got sucked down to plain a la Descent into Avernus. Completely wiped out the lead priest of his entire church in the process. And then he went over to one of the PC's home cities and tried to do the same thing there. Tried to open one of these portals and destroy the city. Both times the players managed to stop him to some degree. And now they find the very last chance that he has, the very last portal or place where these portals can be opened on the edge of the earth, and the players have finally tracked him down. This whole time, obstinately, Glad's been doing this to sort of, save people's lives. It's for the greater good. He sort of views this as the trolley problem. You know, there's a lever that he can pull to sort of, save a whole bunch of people's lives at the cost of just one, but the PCs are standing in the way between him and the lever. He's got to get to it. But secretly, he's also had a child. He's not allowed to have kids as part of being a paladin of his order. But when he was a teenager, before he was fully sworn, he did conceive a child that got stowed away in secret. She grew up to become a knight of her own, and she died in the attempt to defeat the dragon 20 years ago that made Galadriel famous in the first place. She grew up to be his own squire. Valatrix, the evil dragon, actually kept the body of this daughter, Dame Marion, encased in ice as sort of a trophy. And then when Glad 20 years ago slew the dragon, he found his daughter encased in ice, his secret daughter encased in ice, and sort of kept her there. So this whole time, when he's trying to open these portals and bring the dead people back to life, knowing that's kind of dangerous, he's been careful to keep her, his daughter, encased in ice, with the same long blonde hair and blue eyes, away from the danger, until it was under control. And now, when the PCs tracked him to this final location, they walked into the final room, knowing that, okay, Glad has this portal open. He's trying to bring the dead people back to life. This is our last chance to stop him and stop this portal from erupting. Things aren't exactly what they seem. First of all, Glad and his team have found a way to control the portals. Now, they're there, and they can bring dead people back to life if you get them in contact, but there's like protections around them so the demons can no longer escape and the portals are no longer growing. They've managed to contain the danger. Secondly, they found that not only did Glad use the portal to bring Dame Marion back to life, but the portals also have a special property, so one has to willingly keep them open. It's sort of like concentration, but you can't get it knocked out of you. You have to choose to stop having it on. And so Glad decided to sacrifice himself. He encased himself in ice and put himself in sort of a coma to slow his aging process. So the portal will stay open as long as he's alive, but now he's sort of like permanently unconscious and slowly aging. That's why he's entombed in ice. So the PCs walked into the room, they saw this figure with blonde hair and armor, and they assumed it was the girl in ice that they've been seeing this whole time, but instead, no, it was their sort of nemesis. Ooh, I know, that is sort of a long story, but this is what you get. This is the finale of my campaign. So, now the PCs are sort of faced with a dilemma. Thea, the dwarf cleric, her home was almost destroyed by Sir Glad's actions. She thinks that he is too dangerous yet to live. Parrish, the death cleric, he sort of feels that Glad's sort of ego that he gets to decide who is good enough to live and die. He gets to make these decisions that will affect all these lives. Is out of order with his religious teachings, and so he kind of wants Glad dead. Fauna, the gnome, she wants to save him. She thinks that Glad, was righteous at one point. He sort of got corrupted, which is true, and he can be saved. Glad was corrupted by a Rakshasa, someone who is sort of following the party this whole time and sort of pulling the whole strings, a demon that they only know as Faurine. Rakshasas are sort of assassins, so she very targetedly found, Glad's weak spots and made him do all these evil things to sort of damn his soul to hell. Long time ago, he cut off her ear, and she's doing all this just to get that sort of petty revenge. So, along came our paladin Huck, who's sort of regretting the oaths that he made. Eventually, he broke his oath just for some silly reason, and he lost sort of his paladin powers and became a warlock to the demon of regret. And while he was sort of soaking in this misery, Faurine herself sort of appeared to him and offered Huck a deal that she would help the party get to Glad in exchange for Huck's promise that Huck would kill him. So Huck made a deal with this evil devil Faurine, who's also trying to screw over Glad, that Huck himself would make it all effort he could to kill the former White Knight. And so now in this final chamber right here, Huck is in a dilemma, because if he kills Glad, he has to go ahead and kill this innocent girl, his daughter, protecting him, and he will damn himself. Glad is sitting in ice, he's not hurting anyone anymore, and as long as he's in there, people will be brought back to life. Only people who were taken before their time. It's a good thing. And so that is sort of the dilemma that they face. Huck has sworn to an evil demon to kill Glad, but if he kills Glad, he's going to be doing an act of great evil because Glad is just there healing people in his unconscious state. If Thea kills Glad, she's doing it just out of revenge because Glad is clearly no longer a danger. Same thing with Parrish. If Parrish kills Glad, he's doing it out of his own ego and no longer to teach him a lesson because he's going to be permanently unconscious and yet the portal will be open. And so Fauna, our gnome demon hunter, came up with a brilliant plan. That they could just track down Faurine, the evil demon in hell, the one who made the deal with Huck, and if they kill her, then the contract will be void and Huck's soul will be saved. He will no longer have to kill Glad in the ice. The problem is Dame Marion here, Glad's daughter, the reawakened one, she can't trust them. They have been lying and deceitful this whole time, like PCs are. They tried to lie their way into this inner sanctum. They made a deal with a demon, with Faurine, this devil, and she brought swarms of fiends to sort of wipe out the guardians of this place. Scores of innocent people died because they're insisting on getting in there. So she was not going to let them happen. And so that's what I had expected. Whew, that was the background. So last night, I had thought that when the players walked in here and they saw Dame Marion and Glad stuck in the ice and the portal open, that they were going to try to attack her, kill Glad, and, you know, fulfill Huck's bargain and get their revenge. And start off this portal, because all those long I've been saying, that's a crazy idea. It will never work. You can't just bring people back. We can't have resurrection for everybody. It's only for us who have the diamonds. Which is true. They had one diamond this whole campaign, and they brought back one person, which was Thea's dad. So resurrection for her, but not for the masses, right? But they did some amazing roleplay. The team one, they went totally off course with some great roleplay and some really nice rolls. I think 3 out of the 5 rolls were over a 20. They convinced Dame Marion to join them on their quest to go hunt down Faurine. I thought I put another barrier in front of them, saying, ha, folks, you can't just go through this portal. That ring that's keeping the demons from pouring out, it also stops you from going in. You'd have to break the enchantment and subject this whole area to danger if you're going to go in there. But they were, again, exceptionally clever. They remembered way like months and months ago that I had just mentioned once in passing that there were forks hanging on the wall in a university that they had visited on the far side of the world. In fact, I explicitly told them, okay, we're not going to go back there again. And yet they remember that one detail, and instead of going through the portal, like, you know what, we know where a tuning fork is. Whew. All right, so let's go ahead and switch to another. You folks still with me there? All right. So that's what kind of happened last night. And they bounced around a whole bunch. Ooh. Should I get another picture up? So they bounced around a whole bunch, and eventually they found themselves back in hell. They did some favors for some people, and I had to sort of improvise the second half of the session. They're like, okay, we can go. We know where this teleportation circle is. We can bounce there. We know where this teleportation circle is. Bounce there. We can do a favor for this guy. Make some persuasion rolls. Pay some gold. And they ended up back in hell. So for the second like hour and a half of the campaign, I had them go through a little things I just had to put together really, really fast. I opened up the Descent to Avernus book, and just snatched some things real fast and said, okay, you have to do a favor for this person who's going to give you the tuning fork, and you have to retrieve either the tusk of this demon, or you have to retrieve this body, and it's going to be one of these 3 things. And it was like a puzzle, and one was a little roleplay encounter, and the other was a stealth encounter, and yada, yada, yada. Done. They cleared it out. So now they are in hell, and we're at the finale. So it's not clear if we're going to have like 2 short sessions or like 1 long one to pull it all off. It depends on, you know, things. But I'm hoping for 1 long session to get this all done. What they're going to have to do is they're going to have to trek across hell and then get to the Tower of Bel. You know, if you're familiar with D&D lore, Bel is one of the rulers of Avernus. In my game, the PCs have already been down there. Sir Glad went toe-to-toe with Bel for an hour trying to make a deal to get the portals to behave. But eventually the party showed up, and them and Glad fought Bel and chased him off. And then when the PCs boofed back, Faurine stole Bel's tower. So now their arch nemesis has a citadel in the middle of hell. So they're going to have to cross hell, get to the tower, and fight their way back up it. So this is sort of an interesting situation. They've already been to this tower once, so they have some idea. But of course, Faurine is going to, you know, make her own accoutrement, make it her own protected area. So I think that's where we are going to start off. So here's the background picture I scooped from GameStop. It's in there. And let's get my text window up. Excellente. Fantastic. Cool. Can you folks all see that all right? Hopefully. Hopefully. Okay. So the first part of the journey has got to be this peregrination to Bel's Tower, where they go across hell. Oops. And then the second half of this section is going to be the assault on Bel's Tower. It's not really a Bel's Tower anymore, though. It's more like Faurine's. Okay. And I think probably even before all of this, there are some pieces that probably I should make note of. There are still some hanging ends that I want to get revealed to the party. Faurine's Tower. They call her Faurine because her name was, when she first met the party, like in session 2, she introduced herself as Maureen, but they later figured out that she was a shapeshifter, so they should be calling her Faurine this entire time. So I'm going to make a little note of that, actually. That they need to learn Faurine's real name. And identity, right? And reasons why. Faurine's name is, she's actually the Archdemon Vanity. In my setting, the really powerful emotions are sort of expelled from the gods and become celestials or fiends. So if a god were suddenly to feel like really, really vain, it would get expelled from them and become this archdemon of vanity. And so that's what Faurine actually is. She's the manifestation of this. Glad a long time ago cut off her ear, and she's been spending the last 30 years just reaching up this moment to claim his soul, and wreck the entire realm in the meantime, because she's an evil demon. And the reason why, cut off her ear. I love how petty that is. I think that really highlights how evil she actually is, you know? She's willing to kill hundreds, wreck lives, just because she's no longer pretty for X amount of time. Okay. So this is something they need to learn. And that's it. Okay. Can the heroes get to the tower without Faurine knowing they backed out of the deal? So the answer is no. Faurine, just like an hour ago in game time, went ahead and sent in loads and loads and loads of demons to help them out, to clear out the guards to Marion and Galadriel's sanctum where the portal was. So of course Faurine is going to be watching this whole thing. No. So what is she going to do in the meantime? So can the heroes make it there? Her home before she does something. Before she acts. So Faurine can't leave because she knows they're coming. All right. That makes sense. That's going to explain why she's just there at the end room waiting for her, why she's acting like a type 2 villain, type 1 villain. Faurine. Yes, Dennis, I was incredibly proud of them. Like, you know, we've all DMs, like the players never acted like the way you expect, and they came up with some really great moments, and they really pulled it off. I'm incredibly happy. I thought this campaign was going to have a tragic ending where everyone like sort of like skulked away, but instead we're going to do something really cool. Okay. So because they're coming, so that's why Faurine's going to just be sitting there in her tower waiting. So what is she going to do in the meantime? She's going to send off assault teams to the ice island. Sanctum. Okay. So on a roll of 12, on the D20, on the D12, the assault works. And Glad starts to fall. Sadai, Marion gets banished back. To be banished back. Okay, so that's awesome right there. So this is going to be our time pressure. Okay. So Faurine knows that the players reneged on their deal and that they're going after her. She can't leave her tower because she knows that she needs to be there and defend in case that they get there, in case the players get there. But she is going to try to screw their plans by killing Glad anyway. So So anytime they rest, we roll the d12, and on the 12, the assault's working, the demons are getting through, and they're starting to chip away at the ice, and Dame Marion demands that one of them expend a 4th level spell slot and banish her back. Cool. So that's some cool pressure. Because she's a very useful ally to have, and they would want to get there. Okay. Cool. That's going to be some pressure right there. Okay, so that's going to be the stakes. What's going to be stopping them? Challenges. All right. So I have the book Descent into Avernus. I don't monetize these streams anyway. It's okay for me to drink. I'm never allowed to monetize for some reason. I never curse. I don't say anything really nasty. We don't talk about sensitive topics, but YouTube always flags them for some reason. I have no idea why. Okay, so what are going to be the challenges getting their way? I have the Descent into Avernus book, and something that I haven't used out of there yet is the war machines. Right? When is the next time I'm ever going to have the players have the ability to go Mad Max across hell? Okay. So, that's actually a pretty easy setup, right? They need to go somewhere. Here's the means. Okay. So that means sometime in here there's going to have to be a set piece battle. With the war machine. That's gonna be awesome. Okay. So how do they find this? How are they going to acquire one of these things? All right. Well, luckily we have a ranger. We have a ranger whose favored terrain is the abyss, and whose favored foe is fiends. So, Fauna might know location of a bazaar. See, I know in the book they have a hag that's sort of running a market, but I want this to be sort of a fast location. I don't want to spend the whole time negotiating and bargaining. This is our last chance to do something. I want it to be all killer, no filler. Extremely underrated YouTuber Nick Pearson says that about his games. Go check out his channel. Okay. Location of... Nope, you know what? They can just find one. Even better. Why not make it easy? They just find one. They have to boost it. Oh my gosh, even better. Yes. Yes. They find one and needs a jacket. Oh my gosh, yes. So they're going to be setting up the ambush. There's the location of a canyon. Okay, and so the DC for her check is going to be their better position, right? DC for better position. Alright, that's going to be fun. Okay. Yeah, awesome. Oh my gosh, this set piece is really easy to imagine now. That they're on top of the canyon. The thing's going through, they have to break through the armor, things are coming out of it. Oh my gosh. Fantastic. Okay. And then number 2, the second encounter, is they try to steal it back in another vehicle. I think it's spelled with the E. Another Vic. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Now we're cooking with fire here. Okay. And I think we can do like some sort of environmental challenge. I think that makes sense, right? While they are, you know, let's break it up, right? Yeah. Yeah. So this will be number 2. And this will be number 3. Okay, they're also Forin's enemy. Just to make it easier. The crew is Forin's enemy. Just so we have some possibility of roleplay and making an ally. Because I think that's kind of cool. Up here they won't know that, but down here they might figure that out. Okay, so what sort of environmental challenge can we have in Hell? This will be like the second time we've been to Hell in this campaign. First time was when they traversed to try to find Bell's Tower the first time. Someone in chat could help me out. What sort of environmental challenges you think there might be in Hell? Alright, we'll get back to that one maybe. Okay. So the assault on Forin's Tower. Forin's Tower has a couple of 5 floors and a basement. The basement is the forge. They haven't explored there yet. Okay. The first floor was empty. Was the atrium. It's gonna have, you know what? We're gonna cheat a little bit here. We're gonna design this like the final tower in Ocarina of Time. The first floor atrium has animated skeletons. Or animated statues. I think there's skeletons in Zelda, but this is the things we're going to use. Awesome. The second floor. I'm trying to remember what that had. The third floor. Fourth floor. And then roof. Shoot. So this one had the floating throne. With the view. And there was nothing in this room. It was just there to be spooky, I think. No, there's something else. There's some sort of trap on this chair.
Who are you?
Made you want to...
I created the matrix.
Whew. Alright. So this is where it sort of gets difficult, right? Like I said, they've been here before, but I want to make it the same but different. Initially, the third floor was sort of a maze that had a death trap in it. A statue that had a really strong sympathy charm that just made you starve to death. So the structure had 2 narrow hallways, one on each side. So what's something else that we could put in there? So what did they do in Ocarina of Time in the different rooms to make it sort of different when you were running up there? There were lizard men. You know what? These are going to be in the basement. And ghosts working off dead. Nope, you know what? We'll move the animated statues up here to the 3rd floor. Into the 2 hallways. Animated statues in 2 halls. Okay. Ghost working off debt will be in the basement. On the 1st floor is the atrium. And the lizard men. Working there. Alright. So this is going to be some sort of trap. I want a mental effect, I think. Do I want apathy? Something like that. If you were an Archfiend, what sort of trap would you have in your throne room?
You're my savior, man.
Force cage.
Jesus Christ, you get caught using that. It's never happened. You don't exist.
Yeah.
Right. Something wrong, man?
Yep.
And you look a little whiter than usual.
It's going to be a glyph of warding with Force cage. Oh, man. That's nasty.
You ever have that feeling where you
That's
think you're
nasty.
awake or still dreaming? All the time. It's called mescaline.
That might be too bad, actually. That might be a game over.
Sounds to me like
I'll think about that.
bug, man.
So it's going to be on the second floor. This was a huge tower leading up.
I can't have
I don't know. This is sort of a tricky situation. Well, a good idea. I could just go ahead and look at some artwork on Google or something. That's sort of cheating, though. Maybe it's not cheating, but it's not really something I feel like doing on stream. Okay. So I guess another thing we could have in a tower is a torture chamber is kind of overdone. A hallway of mirrors. There we go. Some sort of a death puzzle. This is, after all, a demon of vanity. So what would mirrors do? All right. So I think if we were going to have a mirror puzzle room, I think it'd be something like a lot of teleportation. And then getting stuck. So you know what? If we're going to have a place where they already get stuck and not be able to move, getting stuck in the mirror. Then I think we need to remove this this glyph with force cage. Okay. That's cool. Okay. So we'll make some sort of like a riddle or puzzle. Get the answers right. You keep teleporting. To the next mirror. Yeah. A stream of flesh-eating beetles. That's a great one. I like that one. Yeah, picture for thing post. Mural tapestry depicting her deeds and the story of her perspective. Ooh, that's a good one. Furine story. Oh, you know what? We're going to go back to this. Okay, because previously when they went here with Bell's Tower, there is literally a bell at the top. And then when the bell rang 12 times, the demon bell got the ability to cast Meteor Swarm. So that's going to have to be this the same sort of thing there. The bell's still going to be here, and they'll know that it rings. And then, but instead of Bell story, it's Furine story. And that accomplishes our goal right here. The reason why they didn't cut off the ear. Bingo. Yeah. See, now this is coming together. Just gotta get past that block. Okay, Hall of Mirrors, the death puzzle. You get the right answer, you keep teleporting to the next mirror. You get wrong, you get stuck inside. And I think that's sort of a nice little horror idea. That's something that always like freaked me out as a kid when people like walk through mirrors and they got trapped on the other side and they couldn't get out. Ooh, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. All right, the third floor, the animated statues. That's still cool. That'll be in the middle hallway. And then it's gonna be the treasure room. Why not? No. Treasure is somewhere else. Tapestries picking her decent stories. I want to write down those that flesh-eating beetles. That's a cool one. That's really cool. You know, this is one of those things, I'm just gonna like describe it and let the PCs figure out things to do. Like, you know, it's 50 feet across. There we go. All right. So animated statues. Ooh. So who is someone else that Philreen has fucked over? That's going to be in this hall. One of her other people that she gets to torture now. Dorky. As a Death Knight. Oh my gosh. So a long time ago, Dorky was this gnome that was living in the city of Herdothryn, Thea's home. The party sort of kind of betrayed his family by making a deal with the hag and kind of got them all killed. And so Dorky went ahead and made a deal with Glad to try to bring them back to life. And when Glad made the move to try to open the portal at Herdothryn. The players later killed Dorky in the attempt to stop Glad. And Dorky might be down there in hell. He's a gnome illusionist, and he might be raised as some sort of thing. Is that? I kind of like that. As a Death Knight illusionist. So maybe not a Death Knight, but a Death illusionist. We'll do something like that. We'll make up our own little stat block. We'll take the thing from Volo's and smash on top of all the best Death Knight stats. That would be cool. That will be cool. Okay. There we go. Now we're getting some fun here. That'll be a difficult fight. And then the roof is going to have Philreen herself. Her stats are pretty nasty. I think we developed them on an earlier stream on my one. You can check it out on my Patreon. Boom. Philreen herself. Yeah, she has Meteor Storm already. Well, you know, we'll be rolling all the time. Rolling D12s. Each time they stop, I have them roll a D12, and the clock keeps the bell keeps tolling. All right. So let's work on this. Work on this floating throne room. So I think it's a picture gallery of her and her trophies. Others, she's destroyed in like glass jars. Yeah. She keeps them there. And this is where she tortures everybody. She keeps their souls in these little glass jars, I guess, so that they know that they're small and pathetic. Awesome. That's cool. That's how she tortures all of these souls. But what sort of trap does she still have in her throne room? Like her inner sanctum? Man. See, part of me wants to say that there would be nothing there. That her vanity would prevent her from thinking that someone would ever get that far without her permission. I like that. Plus, it'll put the players on edge. They'll be always like thinking, okay, what's going to be in here? What's going to be in here? With an empty spot for Glad. Yes! And Huck. Yeah. There we go. There we go. We're making progress here. Okay. Cool. I think in the bosses, I already made the environmental effects for Hell, which is basically just things pop up as like a red dragon slayer. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's not a bad idea to spend some time working on how this puzzle would work. So my initial thought is to make it almost like, I don't know, say a hall of mirrors. Let's just do some imagining right here. See how these things could work. See. Oh man, am I going to give somebody like cringes by hitting like the spacebar 5 times instead of hitting tab? Okay. So maybe they'd have to choose one. Choose a mirror. Okay. So what sort of things could they, could we make a riddle maybe? Investigation checks? So let's see now. What I like in puzzles is I like them to be able to be thought through, and I like the players to know that they're making progress. I don't like puzzles where it's sort of like an either all or nothing sort of thing, because I think that can get really frustrating. I want the players to be able to know that they're progressing. Okay, which means they can get to an area they previously couldn't. Okay. So maybe they can see an area in the mirror and they can't get there yet. Okay, so now this is getting a little bit more structure to it. So we have a hall of mirrors. And then maybe over here, let's have, I'm giving somebody mirror D. All right. Let's call this one D. Oh, there we go. Like deflection puzzles from Assassin's Creed. So I tried to do like a light deflection puzzle like a few times earlier in the campaign. I had like move something around and try to like hit a laser around, and it didn't work all that well because we were playing over Zoom, you know, like we're not doing anything in person, so it's kind of hard to sort of communicate that level of manipulation. Not a bad sentiment though, Ben. Okay. So let's say the first mirror is actually a death trap and it leads you into a trap. B leads you to this mirrored version of itself, which also reflects over to here. I don't know. Actually, I think this sort of puzzle is something that I might have to publish and work on off stream. Like, it's sort of hard to think like this on the fly. But I'll tell you what I'll do. Like, once I figure something out, because I'm definitely going to have a Hall of Mirrors type puzzle, I will write it up and I'll put it on my Patreon. Go figure. Okay. So let's go over this, right? So, the Faurine knows that the heroes are coming. And so she's constantly trying to send assaults after Ice Island to get Glad out of the ice. There are people there defending it, but they're battered and bruised. But Foverings also used a lot of her forces in the previous assault that the PCs took advantage of. Dame Marion always wants to be banished back. She just barely trusts them, too. So this will be the time pressure to complete these things. They're going to find a war machine, and they're going to have to try to steal it, which is going to be a sick encounter. That's going to be awesome. Then they have to cross some sort of environmental challenge. They'll have to figure a way across it. They'll be in the war machine when this happens, and then the game will come and try to get it back. They have an ability to maybe negotiate with them because they also happen to be the enemy of their enemy. That sort of thing. See, I'm thinking like something along that, Dennis. And, you know... Oh. Yeah, it's a 5e campaign there, Angry Sloth. Could call attention to the party. That's not a... With if they make it like a rave and to reflect all this light in the right places. See, this is not going to be a quiet assault. Like, they have no chance of stealthing this. Okay, when it gets here, the basement is just a bunch of ghosts that are working off their debt. Ghosts of giants. I've yet to have them fight giants this whole campaign. I have like 6 or 7 like nicely painted giant minis, and I always put them in front of the players and opportunities, but they always find ways to avoid the fight. And I'm starting to get a little depressed at this point about it. So hopefully these ghosts of giants that are working off their debt in hell, making stuff will be cool. There's treasure down here, including a javelin of lightning, which they missed the last time they were in Bell's Tower. So there's the Lizard Men, and it has a new picture of Fovreen's accomplishments. That's going to tell the story. That's cool. It's going to be awesome. That's going to be a nice fight. Cool. It's going to be swarms. Just tons and tons and tons of these things. Mere puzzle I'm going to work on. Third floor, the animated skeletons, and Dorky, the Death Gnome illusionist. That's going to be a killer battle. It's going to be really tough. Then the floating throne with no trap at all, and just a little roleplay opportunity. Picture to make it eeriness, and then they get to the top. This is going to be a great session. This boss is going to be super, super challenging. These 2 War Machine encounters are going to be absolutely epic. Like, they're going to have so much fun. We've never done anything like this. And, yeah, they're going to get a real kick out of it. It's something like super cinematic, something that they're always going to remember. It's a great way to finish off the campaign. This is going to be cool. A big opportunity. See, what I like about low-level monsters at the start of a big dungeon crawl like this is it's a challenge for the players in resource management. Like, it's easy to kill low CR monsters. So the challenge is how much damage they want to take versus how many high-level resources they want to expend. So that's really fun to put in the start right there. This would be a puzzle. It'll be cool. A little change of pace from all of this sort of straight-up D&D. This will be sort of a throwback to something that they fucked up earlier in the campaign. Oh, see, maybe that's why I don't get monetized. Something that they messed up earlier in the campaign. Really hinting at the sort of nasty stuff that they've done. And this will be really sort of haunting. A reminder of what happens when they fail. Cool. And then the boss herself. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Wow. Okay, well, thank you everybody who stayed with me this whole time. Like I said, I've been working this campaign for almost a year and a half. I'm probably gonna do like a whole video sort of recapping it, you know, as a vanity project, because it's been really great. It's been really challenging for the players, both like technically and emotionally. They've had lots of really tough discussions about, you know, what it means to do the right thing. The stuff that we really sort of arguments over what their characters would do, sort of feelings of calling out players or NPCs in the world saying, I think this is how they would act, being able to see things from different perspectives, really sort of engrossing themselves in the world, the sort of things that DMs just sort of live for. And that last session, when they walked into the final chamber, expecting to see Glad there and the girl still in the ice, because they had seen that in the vision, the blonde hair sort of floating there behind ice, and just assumed it was her, and seeing that it was actually Glad there trapped, and they had walked into a dilemma, and them figuring it out, the way out of it, was just, it's what we do this for. All right, that's it. I had an absolute blast. Thank you for sticking around. And if you have some thoughts about what you might do, I'll be looking at this really soon. So as always, let me know what you think in the comments below.